Yes, we have sound.
All right,
I'm
well,
pretty sure we do.
welcome to Denim and Pearls. My name is Michelle Moras,
And I'm Brian Swanson
and we are Denim and Pearls Business Casual
with Pearls of Wisdom
from the porch.
from the Porch. Changes. You know, that's one of my favorite songs.
It is?
Oh yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I think it was my growing up time frame.
My growing up time frame.
Yeah.
Words are his friend today.
Yes. Well, it fell into that time frame when I was, remember the mid '80s when they had the all the teen movies, like uh,
15, 13,
16 Candles and Breakfast Club and all that kind of stuff. That was all out around it. Changes was out around that time.
Yes, it was.
David Bowie, right?
Yep.
So anyhow, what is the relevance of changes today?
Well, times are changing. I mean, last night we were driving and we got in this huge conversation about how much has changed in our lives since we were teenagers to now. And it went down to as simple as microwaves came out while we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other thing? Oh, dishwashers that you had to roll into the kitchen.
Roll them into the kitchen. They always were in the closet.
And we had to run the hot water until it got hot enough, and then you would connect it, right? What else did we talk about? Oh, cassette tapes. That's what started music.
8 tracks.
8 tracks and reel-to-reels.
And all those other fun things. Technology is always changing. We know that. I mean, we just had a problem trying to post.
Yes.
Or share a post. Everything's always changing. Even Facebook changes its stuff every
Which is
time
why
you
I
turn
can't
around.
post.
Yeah, it's like every time you turn around, they're changing things. It's like you made a comment the other day. I thought it was kind of funny because I do the same exact thing.
What?
You were playing with WhatsApp and you're like, I hate WhatsApp. Well, I got to thinking about it at that moment, and I'm like, it's a point of doing an application that you're not used to and not understanding how it works and where this is and what that is. I do the same thing with like Snapchat. I don't use it often enough to go in there and go, oh, this is where I got to push a button at.
Well, my thing is everyone in the conference world, at least, uses WhatsApp to communicate. So I can answer in a show. I mean, not in a show, in a group chat, but I don't know how to start my own group chat. And so someone's like, oh, can you put us together? We'll just get in one chat, just make a chat. And I'm like, I have no clue how to do that. Yeah. Can I just connect you two and then you start the chat?
Well, another piece of it, too, that I think is we look at all this, especially technology, since we're on that topic right at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
We look at technology depending on how old we are.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say that I'm probably one of the more proficient 55-year-old guys out there.
You are.
When it comes to technology, because a lot of people just like, I don't want that stupid thing. Give me my old flip phone back.
But the reason he's so good at technology is because he's also good with the old school stuff. So like working on cars, it's looking at a situation and figuring out what goes where and testing it. And you have to be able to do the same thing with technology. So Brian is willing to, okay, click this button, that didn't work. Or what if I do this? He's willing to do that through technology, like a computer. When I do that, I'm afraid I'm going to delete everything I need. And he's like, no, we'll just save it. And then we'll just mess with it.
Well, it's like I went through and I did a stupid thing and I deleted an entire database of something. And it was very pertinent and important at that moment. And I hit the delete button. And when I hit the delete button, I thought I was deleting one thing and ended up deleting the whole thing. Well, the sad part about that is I usually don't do that. I just got in a hurry and I clicked the wrong thing. But I also knew once I did it too that there had to be a backup.
And that's the thing
There's
about
always
technology.
a backup on technology.
Well, I want to go back to the old school part because we were talking about music and everything. Something as simple as changing with music. Do you remember with music and movies when people were saying, oh, you've got to get the disc TV because that's the future. Everything's going to be on those. What are those?
The laser disc?
The laser disc. Oh, laser disc is the future.
I believe I have one downstairs.
Really? And I remember thinking, that thing's huge. I don't want that in my house. But that's where it's going to go. You need to start really buying those. Move all your music to the da-da-da-da-da. You remember all that?
Oh, trust me, I do, because cassettes were the thing at that time. Even VHSs, and then Laserdisc came out, and then we used to run down to the store, which was not quite Blockbuster, but very, very similar, and rent those Laserdisc. And then,
hi, Sally.
Guess what else we did? We copied them over to VHS. And then you know what? All the VHSs. I can't tell you the hundreds of VHSs that I've bought over the years back in the day, and how many of them sit in my basement and never get watched. Do that same way with family films.
Oh yeah.
Getting remember the big VHS camcorders?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Marcel. But see, that's the thing. It's just our lives are ever evolving. Our bodies are ever changing too. And so when we think, oh my gosh, I don't like change, and change is happening, your face is changing right now as we're talking to you. Cells are dying, eyelashes are falling off.
They say your nose gets bigger as you get older.
It does. Look at
and I'm just looking at my nose right now thinking, is it any bigger than it was?
It will be. It will be.
I'm going to end up with a schnoz, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
Little Carl Malden.
Mine's going to get whiter and
folks.
whiter probably, but oh well. Yeah, at least you have the benefit of staying long enough that it gets that big, right?
Is that the reason for doctors and nose jobs?
Oh,
Nose jobs.
No, because when you get that old, you don't give a crap what.
Oh, is that what it comes
out? No, but that's the thing about changes is that it's always happening. But when you think about change, your first instinct is, oh, what kind of change? When in actuality, we are always changing. God, the universe, however, whatever you believe in, has programmed us to evolve, to constantly change. Look at an infant, how it's even comes into conception. I mean, that whole thing is a big change, and we're always growing every day. And so when we think about change, I want you to start shifting your mindset on that, because change should not be scary. Change should be expected. Let's go to business.
Well, they say the grass is always greener on the other side, so I got to but that.
Yeah, then go to the other side.
But it's not all the time.
Why don't you just water your own dang grass?
That's genius. I've never heard anybody say that.
Really? Please note at what time is it right now? 12:09. Brian said that my thought was genius.
Because grass is always greener on the other side. Well, then take care of your own grass.
Yeah, stop looking at the other fence. Turn on the dang hose. And that's the thing about change. When I talk to people, they're like, oh, but this is about to happen. Great. Where is it moving you to? And that's how you have to look at change. The most beautiful and most terrifying things are the same. Right. That when something big is about to happen, like, here, I'm going to go to kids again, okay?
I know you like children.
I like children. So basically, when you are, if you're a woman, you're carrying a baby, or you are a man and you have a wife that's got your baby with you, or your baby mama, whatever you want to do. The day the baby is coming into the world, mass panic. I mean, it's terrifying. You don't know what's going to happen. It's a life or death situation. I mean, there's all these crazy things that could.
You leave them in the car when you go to the store.
That's what he did.
Or leave them in the house.
But see, I'm talking about the whole baby part, bringing him to the world. It is so terrifying. And right when a woman thinks, I'm dead, there's no way this thing's coming out of me, just kill me already. That's when the baby comes out and the pain stops. You have this beautiful baby in front of you, and you forget all the pain that just happened, and you forget that.
That's because the drugs finally kicked in.
And you forget that your loved one has stopped grabbing your neck and ripping your throat out, saying, "Why'd you do this to me?" And then suddenly everything's fine again. I see that as an analogy for change in our lives and our businesses and our relationships. Right when you think it hurts the most, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can take it anymore. That's when the good thing happens, right when you make it over that threshold.
Okay, so fate or faith?
Both. You have to have faith in fate.
I was going to say, are you going to finish that statement?
You have to have faith in fate.
Well, I mean, you sit back and you look at stuff. There's always changes in our lives, whether it's, I don't know, moving from one country to another country because you have to or don't want to or whatever.
We're military. We moved every 4 years.
Yeah, you get a set of orders down and it's time to move. And it's like, oh my God, I've already set roots. I've got my house filled up the way that I want it. That means I'm going to have to go through a freaking garage sale or find a way to get rid of stuff so that I can, whatever. There's all these things that go around and you just think it's a terror. And then all of a sudden, everything comes together in the military, in my case, or our case, put all our stuff on a truck and took it to the other place. You get to the other house, there it is. You open up the truck,
And
you
it's
put it
like
all back.
Christmas all over again, because you get to
kind of
open up
is, because
all these new presents.
because you find things that you forgot you had.
Well, and I'm insane, because when I used to pack up my house, it's before the packers would come, I would pack all my individual boxes back. And I would do silly things like put pretty paper in it or a smiley face. I'm weird. Okay. And so basically what I would do was, when I get to the new house, I would unpack it. Oh, I found this. Ah! It was Christmas.
Remind me of those letters we posted when we were kids in school, that they made you write a letter to yourself.
Yeah, the time capsule.
And then then mail it to you at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I always hated doing
I love those, because they were always so, it was like, you would write letters to yourself, your future self, and you would say, dear future self, I'm so proud of you for getting this and finishing this and doing this. You stuck to your healthy diet, and you've been so great, blah, 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 blah. And then you're like, gosh, I hope I do it. And then at the end of 6 months, you get that letter back from yourself that you mailed to yourself, and you do, wow, I did it.
Mm-hmm. Or and that you were going to date the quarterback or something like that. Well, that didn't work.
Thank goodness, because he was a jerk, that kind of thing. So when changes happen in your life, understand that it's part of life. That's how we are built. We are built to evolve. And that's why children grow from completely helpless to running maniacs in a crowd. And you're like, where's my kid? Oh, they're way, way over there.
Well, I want to go back to the fate or faith. Okay.
Okay.
We always say the grass is greener on the other side, but that's usually looking for something new. But there's always the one door, one door closes, one door opens.
Yes.
Concept. Well, in fate says you need to go there. There's something in the course of the universe that you need to be there for some reason to that new space. Whereas faith is, we can say, our higher power this is what they've got planned for us.
And that's where we differ. I believe that fate is based and controlled by faith. By that higher power.
Yeah, it all depends on what you believe in.
That's why I say you have to have faith in fate. Because even if you do not believe there is any God, okay, but you do believe in some sort of crazy destiny that you're just living your life and it's going to happen.
Well, the universe is going to put you there.
My thing is, you have to have faith that things will work out the way they're supposed to.
Right.
If you take in consideration all your gut feelings and those intuitions, and write your checklist of the pros and cons, because everything you are going towards, no matter what it is, I don't care if you have no religion at all, okay? Pros and cons of everything that's coming, what's good, what's bad, why you're doing it, why you're not. When you look at that list, it will make sense whether or not you should do or should not. And it's because we are programmed. We are massive computers. See this brain here, this forehead? There's a brain. See, look at this big old forehead. There's a brain in there, which is a massive computer. And it has logged everything you have ever experienced in your entire life, even the things that you are not cognizant of.
Conscious, subconscious.
Yes. So when you have an idea and something comes in, some people say, well, I thought it through and that's what it was. And that's what it is. Then there are other people who look at all those life experiences and say, God or source has moved me to this. Right. And so whatever you believe, that's right. Whatever you call it, it's right. So that's why I say you have to have faith in fate. And even when bad things happen, now, if you know my story, a lot of really bad things have happened in my life. And when you're in it, just like childbearing, holy crap, just kill me already. This is terrible. I don't want to deal with this. Relate. No, you can't. But you ever have a kidney stone?
Nope.
Okay.
Do not ever say that word around me. I don't want to ever have one.
But see, that's the thing, is when you're in the midst of massive change, it is terrifying. Have faith that no matter what on the other end, you will find some nugget on why you're supposed to experience whatever it is. Because I truly believe that we are not put through hell on earth just to suffer hell on earth. It's our perception of hell on earth. What I thought was hell when I was in it, I look back and do, it really wasn't all that bad. And then like that new book that just came out, Dare to Be Me Through Cancer.
Mhm.
I read my own story about my cancer journey and cried because I forgot.
That you wrote it.
I forgot that I wrote it. And I look back at that time and do, yes, it was hell. But wow, what a mental change it has had on me. It has made me a stronger person. And that's part of change. I lost friends during that whole time period, and that's also what makes me cry through it. But that's also a change. I didn't want to lose those friends, but they were in my life, and now they're a piece of me. So
Well,
there's things about change that are scary,
I'm a believer in the fact that your friends, the ones who are true friends, will stay with you,
no matter what.
no matter what the circumstances. I mean, I have a friend of mine that is actually my kids' godparent.
Okay.
Okay. Now, granted, my kids are a little old for godparents at this point, but she was also my best man in my wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She was my best friend through.
Best, whoa, man.
Whoa, man. Yeah. Anyway, it's your best friend is supposed to be your best man, right? Anyhow, if I was to pick up the phone and call her today, it would be nothing ever changed.
Yeah, you've never been apart.
Right. So that's what true friends are. I mean,
that's what friends are for.
You start where you left off, and then you do a little catch up, and then everything else is perfectly fine. But those friends that aren't friends, that are only acquaintances, you go through that
awkward talk.
Yeah. So what I remember about you, ooh, maybe I shouldn't talk about that part. Yeah.
Well, and that's why we wanted to talk about changes. It's constantly happening, constantly. And in your business, change is happening even when you don't realize it. Your audience is growing and it's changing. The people that you serve are their needs are changing. What are you doing to pay attention to that kind of thing? And oh no, I do it this way, and that's how we've been doing. We've been doing it for 20 years. Those are the businesses that go away.
Well, you can look at Blockbuster is a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
Kodak is another perfect example. When you look at these companies, they didn't keep up with the times. They didn't adjust themselves. So when Netflix took over the internet stuff, Blockbuster went away because they didn't
adjust.
They didn't adjust to what's going on. They didn't see the new technology. They didn't see this. But that comes down to business model and understanding what your audience is too. And that your audience changes. Because all of us, I mean, I had the gold card, Blockbuster gold card.
Yeah, we did. We still have that card, by the way.
I have one around here somewhere. But you within a weekend you rent 5 movies and you sit down in front of the movies, you ended up with a gold card. No big deal. But then all of a sudden, if I can go on my computer, turn it to my television, I don't need Blockbuster no more.
Yep, gone.
Kodak, they pretty much went by the wayside. They kind of come back around, but they went by the wayside because they didn't get into digital. They tried sticking with the 35 millimeter and those kind of things. They didn't change with their client base.
Know your client base and know that they're changing and your business needs to change alongside it. It doesn't have to be a massive change, but it does need to adjust. Now, the other thing, I really want to get into relationships because relationships and business are the same in my mind. And people realize we both have been married to our spouses for over 30 years. We've been together for a very long time. And what we have to realize is, are you the same person that married Julie 30 years ago?
No, because I probably got a lot more crass lately. But I'm turning into that old man.
You got the old man truck, that's for sure.
That was the comment I made yesterday, that the older I get, the more redneck I get.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing. I've realized that my opinions now are stronger opinions. Mm-hmm. It's not that I'm going to die, how they say, die on the sword to a lot of those opinions, because I still have that ability to rationalize things. But there are
matured is really what he said.
Is that what you call that?
Yeah.
I don't like that idea of maturity.
You have to mature, because what it is, it's like I said, this brain here of ours, it's been collecting data every millisecond of every day you are alive, and it comes into play in every decision. So as you evolve, that's why I'm saying you are not the same man that married Julie 30 years ago, because
I'm
one,
a little heavier, I know
all your cells have changed. 2, you've gained more cells.
Yeah.
That's just extra cells. and then 3.
Oh, I see what you're getting at now.
It took them a bit.
It did. I'm like, what? Oh, I'm trying to get rid of some of those cells, as you put it.
Well, but we change mentally also because of our experiences. Yeah. So when let's say, like when Michael and I first got married 30 years ago, it was all lovey-dovey. Oh, it's so sweet. Let's just cuddle on the couch kind of thing. And now it's like, okay, we got things to do. Da 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 da. Let's go. Okay, how about we're multitasking half the time. It's like, okay, stop, collaborate, and listen, and let's sit,
Squirrel.
sit, and just enjoy being together. And so that's something we probably wouldn't have done when we were younger because we were too busy dreaming about what the future was going to be. You know, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
We've evolved in our relationship. It's not all rainbows and butterflies all the time. We know that we have 2 children, they've got needs, we have needs. There's travel plans. We're going to have to retire sooner or later. One of us may die before the other. I mean, there's things we have to plan on that we talk.
See, now you're getting logical.
Yes. So
not emotional.
Well, you don't have to stay emotional.
Well, that's a big difference. But you know what makes me? There's an opinion. You know what makes me sick?
What?
Is these people that have been married for 30 years and they're all kissy huggy and lovey on each other, and it's like, oh, that drives me crazy. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. Maybe it's jealous. Maybe it's jealousy, and I don't have it.
Yeah, because we don't have it. But it's so funny because
it's like, you've been married 25 years. Grow up.
It's actually, then you should de-evolve.
Is that what it is?
Yes, you should de-evolve.
See, I'm not always right on everything.
No. So we're going on a karaoke cruise in July. We both are taking our spouses on a karaoke cruise, and I'm going to force him to be lovey-dovey on Julie, and she's going to do, will you get off of me?
Yeah. It's going to be hard to get her out on the deck, though.
Why?
Because she doesn't like sun.
Oh yeah, she's very fair.
So
I will get her a big hat.
I'll get her a poncho.
Hi, Helene. She'll be out there with a big hat and a poncho. But just think about it. No matter what you're in, business, personal life, it's all relationships, and they all change just like your body. Mm-hmm. And so when you think change, realize just 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we didn't have cell phones. 10 years ago, you couldn't watch anything you could ever possibly ever want to watch on TV. A year ago, you couldn't say, I want to watch this news program that was aired 3 months ago. Now you can go to live stream and push a button and only watch that one day. I mean, so the things that we have evolved in technology-wise, emotional-wise, and the things we have to prepare ourselves for change in the future. America is changing. If you're in America, if you haven't figured out it's changing, wake up. Because
it also goes.
Travel's changed.
Everything's changed. But even with that, everything comes back in circles.
Yes.
We always come back to something else because we've been going through some of the stupid political stuff for the last 5 years, 6 years, something like that. And there's a lot of outspoken people out there that their voices are now not being heard like they were 4 years ago. So things are evolving or revolving back to what it used to be. Now,
life is a sine wave. Do you know what a sine wave is in math? It goes up, but it goes down. We used to have to graph them in school. Mm-hmm. Up, down, up, down. Life is a roller coaster. It goes up and down, and whatever's up will come down. What's down will eventually come back up. It's just spread across time. What?
Nothing.
You being bad?
I would never be bad.
What goes up must come down. Spinning wheels going around. Yeah. Anyways, but that's really what that song is about, by the way. What goes up must come down. So if you're having a good time right now, be prepared that you will eventually have a down. Be prepared to know that it's not going to stay down. It will have another up. You just need to be able to write it out, plan for it. And Sally was on the call earlier. Sally she's a planner. She knows that kind of stuff, and she predicts what's going to go on. Not predict. She does like A/B testing. If this happens, then I'll do this. If this happens, then I'll do this. That's what we should all be doing in our lives. I do A/B testing for pretty much everything I ever do. Why? Because when the car hit me in 2014. I wasn't ready for it. So when I was stuck in my head for 2 years, I A/B tested every possible scenario I could think of in my life. I even have a scenario for if it floods in Colorado. Okay?
Yeah, but
Craziness.
there's one thing about that problem.
That's not a problem.
That is a problem. There's
What?
one thing about that problem
A/B
solving.
testing?
Yeah, what you're talking about.
What?
We can't always come up with and predict all of the possibilities.
No.
And it always, in some of us, our luck is the fact that it's the one thing that we didn't think of.
No, but see, the thing is when you do A/B testing and you plan on different scenarios, even if you don't have the exact scenario, your mind is mentally prepared to problem solve another problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is that site we were reading that we were watching where they do? You're in a closed room with no windows.
Oh.
It is filling up with water. You have a straw, a bucket, and a rope. What are you going to do to save yourself as the water is pouring in and filling up? My thing is, where's the water pouring in? Because I'm going to use that hole somehow. But that's not part of the scenario. But it gives you scenarios of what will you do if you've got 10 seconds. And doing that kind of exercise and making your brain practice problem solving, it's not just a game. When your brain does not realize when you're problem solving, this earpiece, does this fit my ear or does it fit my ear? Your brain doesn't realize that you are using these kind of thought processes for something else. So later on, you're going to run into something, your brain's going to do, oh, I've played with this kind of scenario of should I do this or this? So when you do games like you're going to drown, what are you going to do? How will you're basically teaching your brain to think fast and out of normal situations. That's why those scenarios are so ridiculous. You're walking in the woods and a bear is coming at you and you have nowhere to go and you are trapped. What do you do? How many times are you going to be in the forest and run into a bear?
Well, the one thing I love, by the way, I love the guys that produce that.
But it's genius.
It is, but those scenarios are, in my eyes, are so simplistic.
They're weird.
That they're strange because I always have to second and third thought things and analyze things before I go. I look at the scenario and I go, well, wait a minute.
Bryant's not catching the point.
You didn't tell me what kind of wood room I was in.
He's not getting the point. The point is, it's teaching you to think fast. It doesn't matter what you're thinking about. It's teaching your brain to evaluate.
Oh, yeah. As far as an exercise, yeah, it's good for that.
And that's why
I will agree there.
People who need details need to do those kind of things, because when a bad thing happens in your life, so like with me, when they gave me my diagnosis of breast cancer, okay, diagnosis of breast cancer, you have about 3 months to live. How many of you would do, shoot, I need to think about it now. What will happen if I do this? You don't have time for that. Those kind of things teach you to think without all the facts. That's a power thing to have. So like when Brian says, well, when they say, well, which door are you going to go? And he says, well, is it oak? Is it pine? What kind of, is it hardwood? You don't have that time to think sometimes.
Of course, I don't ever plan on finding myself locked in a square box.
No one is. Soon. But that's why those games are so ridiculous. It's not because they are meant to be ridiculous. It's meant to make your brain think without the construct of what you want. It takes you out of the comfort zone of what your brain already knows to give you weird situations, so that one day when you're in an airplane and the oxygen masks pop up, what's your first instinct? Holy crap, the plane's coming down. Exactly. So instead of doing, oh my gosh, the plane's coming down, your brain would do, well, I saw that scenario once in a movie. I put it on my face. And it could just be a malfunction. It just fell down. Nothing's happening. So instead of panicking, you have to learn to reassess very quickly. Testing your brain and giving yourself that, yes, critical thinking skills is imperative for everything you do in life, including your relationships. And that's why relationships have so many problems. And you see people getting in fights, especially young people. He doesn't like me. He raised his voice and now I hate him. Didn't you just love him yesterday? Yeah, but I hate him now because he said that my pants were too tight. Really? You're going to ruin I love him because pants too tight. That's just an honest opinion. You see what I mean? Take it or leave it. critical thinking skills are important in every relationship because it helps you realize when you need to actually respond quickly and worry about it, or say, okay, it's not important. Let's
Which
just let
I
that
hate
drop.
to say this, but I think a lot of our younger generation today does not have the ability to do that because they're not taught that.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Dakota. No, they're not. And that's why we're talking about it right now. It's important to realize that your brain can only analyze what it's seen. So read more, watch more, practice other things, experiment, watch other people do experiments. It's basically add to the database of your brain. So whenever things happened in your life that you've never occurred before, you have some really tiny portion of your brain doing, I might be able to apply that to something and be able to figure it out faster.
Well, I know one thing. We're at 30 minutes.
I'm so glad we had this time together. And really, that's the power of knowing that change is going to happen. To live in a bubble pretending that nothing's going to change, it's setting yourself up for failure.
Hmm?
Bottom line is, change happens. Be prepared. Don't panic.
So's the other stuff. It happens too.
Shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
So be prepared and understand that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And this too shall pass. Okay?
In other words, we'll see you next week.
Yes, we'll see you next week. So peace, and thanks for hanging with us with our yeah but conversation.
Hey, we didn't do too much yeah buts today. I tried not to.
Peace. We'll see you next week.
Peace.